My laundry. My laundry showing. I got to figure out this. Mercy, mercy. All right, let's see where I am. Don't want that. Oh, that was good that way. Okay. Mercy, I got everything in my face right here with all these. All right. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say hello. You know what's really hard with this is not being able to. Oh, Green Bay Packers won, I think. Sometimes this gets really hard because it's like, I'm going to say hello. Hello. Uh, I don't understand this. I got to figure out why it says my connection's unstable. Need to plug that in better or something because I'm plugged in. So, all right, this is what I'm going to do. As people, hopefully, somebody will watch this one day. That, oh no, am I 22? What time is the Young Jerks going live? Because I can't compete. Wouldn't want to. But that's where I tend to get a lot of my information from. My um, between him and that's where I get it from. But what I'm going to say is, right now, I am so upset with the fact that we have a town in the United States where our citizens are treated less than. Our citizens are considered not important. Their voices are not heard. Their cries are not heard. Howdy, Lori. And I don't know how to help. I don't know who can help, but I know that if enough voices get loud enough, somebody's going to have to listen and somebody's going to have to help. I mean, that's just how I feel. So, what do we have? We have the year 2024. And in the year 2024, we have an innocent woman. She's factually innocent, proven factually innocent, that they want to keep trying again. And it's like they think they're going to just keep on going until they get the outcome they want, which is impossible for them to attain because Karen Reed is factually innocent. Not only factually, she's totally innocent. And the sick thing is when you look at the, as they call it, the investigation, it boggles the mind how they ever got this to court. Completely boggles the mind. So I our I don't even know, our grand jury testimonies, are they all sealed or can they be gotten? Because I would sure love to know what all was said at the grand jury. The people that got up on the stand, as we know, the McAlberts, and spoke, you could tell that they just fly by the seat of their pants. They just, whatever they wanted to do, they did. However they wanted to say it, they said it. Didn't matter if there was proof. Didn't matter if something could support what they were saying. It didn't matter if they had photos. So I'm going to start off with the common sense. And I'm going to hope, I know Governor Healy definitely can do something. Um, what is it? The state of the attorney general. I mean, come on, folks. This is bigger than just, some fly by night, seat of your pants little thing going on that just keep on closing your eyes about. People that live in this state, the state of Massachusetts, should be outraged, should be screaming to whoever in power can do something to stop this insane nightmare. Somebody needs to sit down with the O'Keefes. I mean, literally, somebody with some sense, somebody that knows this is the biggest fiasco ever that I've ever seen them trying to pass through as a case of any sort. Excuse me, I'm thirsty. I apologize. So, what we do know that the FBI does care. We do know that. And the reason we know that is Josh Levy. And we also know because they shared reports, for Pete's sake, people. They're still investigating, yet they were sharing parts of their investigation with the defense and the prosecution because they were saying, look, we know Karen Reed didn't do this and you're taking her to trial. When you can put up the experts from ARCA on the stand, they can say it is impossible to have done what she was accused to do. Yet, I guess the jury didn't quite understand that the experts, I mean, how else could Mr. Jackson have explained that? What else could be said to explain that they weren't hired by them and they weren't hired by the prosecution, but the defense was going to use their testimony? They had never even spoken to them, only read a report. The jury heard they had never spoken with them. So that would really, if I was a juror on there, I would really be perking up right about now because I'd be very, very curious about experts that were fixing to testify that had never spoken to the defense, nor had they spoken, I'm assuming, to the prosecution. So for you to put an expert on the stand and you hadn't talked to them, you have got to have no fear that your client is guilty. You can't even have just an inkling of a thought that your client was guilty. There's no way. There's absolutely no way they would have done that if they felt the client was guilty. That should have said a whole lot to the jury, but I've never in my life seen a trial like that. I mean, Beverly allowed oh dumbass, what Lowley, sorry, I can forget which grandchild I'm speaking to as well, but Beverly allowed Lowley to ask and waste. He wasted more of the court, as they said, valuable time than my grandchild can waste trying to get out of doing their homework. You know how little kids are and they come up with everything? Well, his presentation of no evidence, I guess you couldn't expect it to be anything other than chaotic. And really and honestly, it was like, duh, 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 duh. Really? Wasn't it? Duh, and then, But we do know who drank what, who liked what. Do you want it on beer? Do you want it on tap? Do you want it on ice? Do you want to take it with you? Would you like to have cheese fries with that? Does anybody want some buffalo wings? There was 2 people, and we'll get to it when we find it, that said Karen Reed walked into that bar with a glass. I don't believe that for a minute. But I think that the reason that they kept bringing up this stupid glass is because they thought somehow they were going to be able to tie that glass into evidence that that had to have been her glass. Well, folks, if that was her glass, then did you test it for fingerprints? Because you see, snow isn't going to make the evidence go away. Snow isn't going to wipe that stuff off. But the thing is when you sit there and you have no evidence, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? None of it makes sense. So if you're looking at it from a common sense perspective, it just starting right there. I don't see how anybody could assume. I mean, none of what the prosecution said, in my opinion, led to. Look at that hair right there. That's going to drive me crazy. Just like when I cut it, I shipped up there. Sorry. Hey, Sharon, I'm fine. How are you? And I see Lori. And so my rambling is literally corruption. Okay. If it wasn't for this case against Karen Reed, these people in this town would still be screaming for help like they do, but nobody would hear them. Yeah, I mean, I'm baffled. I'm baffled. And 24/7, when I become obsessed with something, I'm obsessed. I have got literally notebooks full of notes and jumping around and trying to make sense or even put any of it in order. Because if you take the prosecution's case, right, even though we know they tried to railroad her and convict her, let's say if you look at the presentation that the prosecution laid out, it doesn't add up to what they claim. But at the end of the day, nobody pointed that out. At the end of the day, nobody said, wait a minute, wait a minute. Uh, Jen McCabe could not have possibly been texting John O'Keefe looking at that vehicle at 12:45 a.m. It's impossible. You can't do it. She was gone. That's a lie. So basically, you have Jen McCabe stating that at 12:45 a.m., John O'Keefe was finding in that vehicle out front, right? That's basically what she swore to on the stand. Am I wrong? So that's a lie. That's a lie. Proctor, just last night, I finally, if I tried to explain to y'all what um, my brain does or why my days have been busy, we'd be here all day. So, but I did finally get the video out yesterday where I read Proctor's sworn statement or whatever that says that he feels he has enough to arrest Karen Reed from his thorough investigation, which had no confirmation of DNA, no confirmation that any of the red pieces fit the taillight, confirmation for diddly squat. There was none. Yet he had it wrapped up with a little bow and said she's guilty. So even even in his statements, because of the fact, if you want to get nitty gritty, even in the statements where he says because of what Karen Reed said to her friends, Yet at that point in time, none of her friends had said they heard her say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. At that point in time, the only person on record for saying, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him was Katie, which was, I'm sorry, trying to pretend she wasn't friends with Caitlin. Was it Caitlin? Yeah, Caitlin, because Allie is the McAlbert who wanted to get on the stand, and she's a good little crier to say how they've been harassed. It's been just terrible, terrible. They've been harassed. And the fact that they're even allowing charges on that. I mean, I keep waiting for the series to end, right? Like, whatever person wrote this, you got to wrap it up and somehow you got to make it make sense, or at least show that the people were living in the twilight zone, because this is impossible. But what we do have, there are things that can step into place, right? I mean, we have Turtle Boy, an investigative reporter who is being just strung out to smithereens because he is mouthy. He is loud and he wants the facts and he wants the truth, and he will go up straight to these McAlberts and he will ask them, why'd you do it? Because somebody in that house had to do it, right? I mean, we're not investigators, but I don't think anybody that's watched his trial, you know, he died. John O'Keefe died. He was basically dead on a front lawn of a Boston police officer. How did he get there? Well, Karen Reed dropped him off at a party he was invited to. He went to the door. Karen Reed looked down at her phone. No, she didn't watch. He's not 5 years old. She didn't need to watch him walk in the door. She saw him walk up to the house. She didn't say he wandered off to the left or wandered off to the right and she just got tired of waiting there. She just figured he'd get lost and come home in a blizzard, right? I mean, what else? What else do these dumbasses in this house think that? I mean, what else? He gets out. Nobody sees him get out. The car behind her sees inside her car. She's the only one in the car, but yet nobody sees John O'Keefe. Where was John O'Keefe? He had to be in the house. So when a major thing happens in the news, you normally will have ABC, CBS, Fox, Boston Globe, WCVB, NBC Boston, 60 Minutes. I mean, we got 60 Minutes. We got ABC News, CNN, Fox News, New York Times. I mean, I don't know what I think of Megyn Kelly, but we've got Megyn Kelly. Okay. I'm not sure. I'm still out on, but if she has a mouth that can reach the public, that can get bigger names to pay attention to corruption, we have that. Um, I know that there's got to be major differences in who we can call out. Who do you call out? How often do you call them out? Will it get to them? Definitely, definitely, I can say anybody that knows anything, because now we've got the Sandra Birchmore thing and that looks super bad. Not only does it look super bad, that tells you there are other victims. The other victims, even if you've been paid off, please reach out to Special Agent in Charge Josh Levy. Reach out to him. Reach out to him. You don't have to be afraid of him. I can understand everybody in Canton keeping their mouth shut because you don't want your children or grandchildren or business to suffer because you go against the McAlberts. I can understand being afraid. They've got older people that are terrified. They won't speak out because they don't want anything to happen to their families. They say this out loud at the select board meetings. the select board meetings where you're supposed to listen to the citizens, but they don't care what the citizens want. They don't care what the citizens say. And Governor Healy, where are you? Where, I mean, you have to be able to see this. Is this, Governor Healy, is this what you expect your select board to be? I have no question. I have no problem asking you that. Um, uh, I'm not going to madam or madam or anybody in any hierarchy of whatever. I do have respect for the offices, definitely have respect for the offices. But the problem is, this isn't just about Karen Reed. It's not just about John O'Keefe. It is about the corruption in the Canton Police Department and the state troopers as well. And it needs to be addressed head on. Y'all need to get to where a full investigation of everything that these people have their gritty little hands in, and somebody needs to call it out. Somebody needs to investigate it. Somebody needs to scream it out. Turtle Boy can't do it on his own. And half the people don't want to listen to him because Turtle Boy's a little mouthy. I mean, yeah, is he refined for all of you snobs? I doubt it. Does Turtle Boy get off on a little bit of tangent somewhere? Well, for us older folk, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. But I watch him. He comes with receipts. The man has receipts. He's screaming about corruption. So what do? Oh, what do? So Governor Healy, it is so important that you understand that you have a reporter that is they're trying to shut his mouth. They're saying because he asked people who we suspect had a hand in Officer John O'Keefe's death, what happened. And the reason that he's asking that is because we know Karen Reed did not kill him. Since we know Karen Reed did not kill him, the people in the house, somebody in the house did it. Somebody in the house knows it. Some of the people are involved in the cover up. Some of the people may just be absolute dumbasses and not have a clue. Court is tomorrow at 2 for Turtle Boy. Is it going to be live? Does anybody know if it's going to be filmed? I mean, do we have any news crews that care enough about the freedom of speech, about protecting your sources, about giving you the right to open your mouth and question something when it's wrong? Somebody, who are you? Somebody out there has got to go in there with a camera and let the rest of us see what kind of business is going to be conducted in trying to railroad Turtle Boy. And it's not just Turtle Boy. Oh, no, 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 no. Because they've gone after Turtle Boy, they have to go back after the Canton Nine, which they've already said that the Canton Nine didn't do anything wrong. What did they do wrong? They didn't do anything wrong. So, but if they're going to go after Turtle Boy, they got to go after all these other people that also did something, right? And now they're doubling down and going after people. From what I understand, I'm telling you what, if you people showed up at my house, if I lived in that area, you would be wanting to come to my house because I would have no problem whatsoever calling out Jen McCabe if I had the facts. If I had receipts, oh, I'd be right up there. So I'm sure I'd be right in there with the Canton Nine. That's my personality right there. I would definitely be in there. I'd be in trouble. So, oh man, well, you know what? YouTubers will try, but why? Why do we not have major coverage of this? I mean, this is horrible, and it affects citizens. It affects reporters. It affects so many things, and you cannot keep You're not going to pile these people under a rock and never let them come out, because you try to shut up Aiden Kearney, you're going to have more people screaming to the top. I mean, what is it going to take? I mean, can Vinnie Politan get a crew in there? Because I'm not going to say whether I am or am not a Politan fan. I normally wasn't, because usually he was on the side I wasn't on, but he is on Karen Reed's side. So can't I mean somebody we need to have major coverage on this. It needs to be out everywhere. People need to see it. Governor Healy has got to have people in her office that give a flying flip and go, hey, there's people out there. We got citizens screaming that we need help. And it's not just because of the Karen Reed situation, but because of the Karen Reed situation, we see it. That's what gets me. Yeah, are they scared? That's a good question. Are the news stations scared to cover this? That's a very good question. Who are y'all afraid of? Whose back pocket is helping y'all out? Oh, if I was supposed to be, the stations are scared. But what would they be scared of? I don't understand. If enough people scream and point out the corruption, they have no reason to be scared. I mean, come on, the McAlberts can't kill everybody. They may want to, but they can't. So, and if I was the McAlberts, I think I'd be real concerned about my pizza business right about now. The only way I see those people even having any business open is their friends and family. I don't see anybody that hears about them wanting to go in there and eat their pizza or go to their business. And, because Turtle Boy was out there and he had a sign about the crooked criminals that were inside that establishment, I wouldn't want to go there. So it just, the whole town's in an uproar, and the division is getting wider and wider and wider. And it's not getting wider because Karen Reed has done anything. It's getting wider because the corruption is just, they're trying their very best to hold on to it with everything they have. And why, I really and honestly want to know. I mean, the McAlberts, do they really have strings to pull with the media? Are media people afraid of the McAlberts? What was that young lady though, when oh gosh, she's a reporter, and she did the interview, I believe, with Paul O'Keefe, but she also has spoken to Karen Reed, and she is definitely, um, I'm thinking she was on the fence, but I think that she probably personally is going to believe more of the Karen Reed because of um, they even brought her up in the court case because they tried to get her notes, tried to get her notes. Okay, conflict and getting sued. Yeah. Well, I don't see how you can get sued if you're pointing out facts. I just don't understand it. But whoever, whyever, I mean, Josh Levy can only do so much. And quite frankly, I think he's going to be pretty busy with the stuff going on from what's going to be coming back from everything that's going to be uncovered in the Sandra Birchmore case. Yes, thank you, Gretchen Voss. Now, I got mad at her when she did O'Keefe's interview. But then again, I had to respect the fact that she's a reporter. She's going to offer time on each side. Doesn't mean she supports it, right? That's the whole thing about being a reporter. And they threatened her children, and the judge acted like she was concerned. Well, she acts like too, like, I mean, come on, Beverly, let me explain, let me spell it out for you. Someone let Beverly know Gretchen Voss was harassed. as they stated, her attorney stated right in court of the harassment. Now, somebody else tell Beverly she was being harassed by the McAlberts. She was not being harassed at all by the people that support the truth. She was being harassed by the McAlberts. Plain and simple. Why? Because she was reporting fairly. So we've got that. It's I watched the whole trial, and it seemed more, instead of focusing on what could have happened to John O'Keefe, it was trying to clear up whether Jen McCabe Googled "Heiss long to die" and called at 2:27 a.m., which has been proven she did, which then it proves there should be a big red flag in your head on that one. Jen McCabe Googled "Heiss long to die in the cold" at 2:27 a.m. My question is, what time did they put his body in the front yard? We know that Lucky didn't see it. So we find out the last time he went by, and we know it was after that. My memory's not good enough, so I'm not going to remember. But we do know that after his last pass, at some point, John O'Keefe was put out there in that yard. If John O'Keefe would have been out in the yard before that, Lucky could have saved him. Lucky could have called the police. If it would have been just in the very beginning. So when she Googled "how long to die in cold" at 2:27 in the morning, was that to determine what time to put him out in the cold? That would have been my question. Why else was she Googling it? I mean, come on. I'm just going to say, Governor Healy, the people of Canton, they're crying out for help. They're crying out. They're screaming. The town is divided. The McAlbert supporters are corrupt. Well, the McAlberts are corrupt. Their supporters are vile and mean. They do ugly things to people. They take it real life and put in ugliness with it. You don't find anyone that's supporting the Karen Reed side. And I hate to even say Karen Reed's side. It is the side of justice. It's the side of the truth. I mean, the allegations of corruption have shown, if you think about it, that you need to dig because the allegations are in fact true. So I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm small taters. I'm a nana in Texas. I'm outraged. This makes me sick. I'm not raising, but I'm watching my grandchildren grow up in a world where this kind of crap is happening and it's okay. And it's not. I mean, in the United States of America, our rights, our civil liberties, the things that our ancestors fought for, and believe it or not, Massachusetts, you are included in that. You are not, you are a part of the United States of America. You do fall under the same laws as the rest of the citizens. I do understand the states have their laws too, but none of it surpasses federal. There you go. So if Governor Healy can't, you know, then you have the vice president and the president. I mean, so come on, Governor Healy. We don't. They're out there trying to figure out the election year. They're not. They're not. You know. Oh, what do we have to do to make it public? What do we have to do to get it out there? How do we do it? Because the corruption, the power plays the McAlberts pull out. We need Massachusetts citizens to become irate about this because you don't want this in your backyard, do you? Do you want your select board meetings held like that? What is it that they can do? What is the word? They need to take away the select board. Just there's a way they can take that away and bring in all new. And that's what they need to do. Whatever that is. Whatever that is. Governor Healy, you know what it's called. This town is going to continue to be divided. It's going to continue to have bad things happen. It's going to continue on this path if somebody does not step in and say enough is enough. The town is not yours. The laws are meant to be upheld by all, and you are not above them. Because, so, I also could be wrong in thinking this because I don't, my mind still wants to know, why was John O'Keefe killed? Was it an accident? It doesn't sound like it because they so wanted him to go over there that night. Was John O'Keefe in his line of work, had he uncovered something regarding Sandra Birchmore and her affiliation with that organization that is supposed to be good for children who spent their time grooming children? And what did John O'Keefe do in the Boston offices? He worked on that type of case. Follow those people, had issues. And I'm going to say that he was a stand up guy, that there's no way, if he uncovered anything to do with harming a child in the manner abhorrent as it is that these other officers did, it makes my blood boil just the thought, just the thought of any grown human having, that's sick. It's sick. It's twisted. These are children. Your children are not safe. And he was raising his niece and nephew. So could he have uncovered something? Could he have received a phone call? We know he reported drug issue because I think Slimy Britches, the Canton, what is her name? She goes to all the concerts and everything. That's why she likes being the chief or whatever she's called. So I don't know. Rafferty is right up there too. You know, the the, the things that have happened in this case, the things that have come out because of this case should should literally make everybody in Massachusetts sick, because your children could be going there. Your children could end up having to move there one day. Your grandchildren might be being raised in that area. And the only thing that's going to happen is it's going to get worse and worse and worse. How long have they been doing this? How long have they been grooming children? I think that the reason John O'Keefe was killed is he came across something and they asked him to look the other way. And he said, "Are you crazy?" This stuff of Higgins flirting with Karen Reed, and Karen Reed, come on. A lot of women have been in that position where you're just not sure and you kind of get your feelers going out. It probably took her a good 10 minutes of conversation with him to understand, dude, you're too needy for me, you know. And plus, it was just like probably a knee jerk reaction to what had happened in, but that to say she killed him because of that is absolutely insane. But what does make sense is that in his line of business, he ran across a lot of this corruption. And they asked him to look the other way. Come on, buddy, look the other way. Don't even look at this. Don't even think about this, right? That's what I think. So I unfortunately have not watched this entire thing. So I do not have the whole thing. And there's more probably than just this one that we're going to look at. But this is the Police Audit Committee. Bob McCarthy, I believe, is the chair of the committee. I wonder if he owns McCarthy's, but he's the most disrespectful person. And he's also extremely full of himself because he's like, okay, well, y'all just put something out there, all right? You two on that side over there, y'all just say something. We'll put it to a vote. You're going to be 2, we're going to be 3. So whichever way I want to go is the way it's going to go. So why do we need to vote? It should just be, hey, Bob, do you agree with this? And Bob says no, and you're like, okay, move on. Hey, Bob, do you agree with this? Nope. Okay, move on. Because if Bob says no, the other 2 yahoos on his other side, they got to say no too. But the way they address these people is they have no respect. So I'm going to play a few minutes of this. I'm going to hop around because when they get to where they're saying that that the police using friggin' leaf blowers and red Solo cups and brown paper bags that they got from across the street from another cop, because far be it for anybody to go knock on the door of the Alberts, or far be it for Jen McCabe to say, hey, we can get stuff from here, I bet. Or for the McAlberts, the Alberts to even come out. Brian Albert never stepped out of his house. Nobody believes you people. Nobody. The cop across the street didn't show up. Are you kidding me? A dead police officer on front and center somebody's yard, and nobody shows up. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And the video, I mean, that call that I'm not sure who said it, but verifying it was at 32 Fairview, and oh, thank goodness it wasn't at 34. He didn't say, oh, thank goodness. He just said, oh, good. It wasn't even at his house. The call came in. Why would you have even considered if it was at the Alberts house? Just because it was on the same street, right? That says something, doesn't it? King Albert. Where's the money in this town? Who pulls the strings? Because they can be cut. They can be cut. So let's see. Current investigation meeting. All right. So in this lovely that we've got right here, let me see if I can. All right. So what we've got right here, would you see this man right here? This man right here? Or maybe I got to do it over here. Or maybe it don't show at all. Does my cursor show? I don't know. I don't know which where I'm supposed to put my cursor. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Okay, listen.
David and Kathleen, and again, in all due respect, but when somebody asks me a question, whether it's a personal question or a professional question, if I can't give a definitive answer, I would answer. I can't tell you I would use the exact verbiage, but to maintain my credibility, I would tell you I will get it to you as soon as I possibly can, not knowing how long it's going to take to get you what you want. And again, I know you're referencing in large part digital communications, but again, I get back to the point, we don't know if those are the kinds of questions and that it's going to be requested of the town.
Have you read the full question and answer
I have.
response?
I have.
So you will see in there that it does say all of the communications are digital, all the records.
All the records are the same as hard copies except digital. They still have to be reviewed for other reasons. It could be personal information.
Not on a public
can-
records request, not during an audit.
I
a public
can't answer
records.
that question, but I'm assured, I can assure you that there could be some records that the union may want to keep away if it has personal information about people that should be kept personal. So they do review through it all before it's sent over. I can go to the Freedom of Information.
You know, I think I missed the part where they were so rude when she said Kathleen and they continue to say her last name. I think I missed that. So I really wanted that to be heard because just how rude is that? But I'm not going to keep going. But do you hear him? They're concerned about the records and things need to be redacted. Okay, if you have someone that is in the business of doing these audits, they will have what they need as far as personal and private information. They're going to know the laws. They're going to abide by those laws. They're not going to share it with people. They would redact it if it needed to be redacted, if it was given out to the public. The problem is they don't want anyone to have access to everything because they've been being crooked for how long? I mean, but let's listen because they really they sound so combative.
Information Act and get public records from the federal government, and a lot of stuff will be crossed out.
But this is not a public
And-
records request. This is an audit.
I understand it's an audit.
Two different things.
Yes, no, I understand what you're saying, but there still could be information. Anytime this is done, whether it's a hard copy or a digital copy, it is looked over first. Make sure files that didn't get put in it that have nothing to do with the police, it just got mixed up. All those things can happen,
Got
similar
mixed
to
up.
a file that you put in your drawer that you end up misfiling something. So it does have to be reviewed. And so
Well,
they're
let's
trying to say
move
that
on.
they'll get to it as soon as possible. And I think, quite frankly, I think they want this done as much as everybody else at this table.
Well, I would disagree.
So,
A
well,
thorough and independent audit, I would disagree.
Well, we disagree with your,
Yeah, well,
we
this-
think you're very
this-
biased when it comes to this, so.
No, by bias, you mean opinionated, right?
No, I mean biased. I mean,
Bias.
you've gone after the police chief and others and so forth, so biased.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have a different opinion?
So she's biased because they've gone after the police chief. Chief Rafferty, who's nowhere around when needed, doesn't address anything, gets drunk, drives, hits somebody, leaves. Oh, she must be related to the Alberts, right? Chris Albert knows how to do that. He probably gave her pointers. I mean, come on, people. Listen to him. Listen to the tone of this man. It is disgusting.
Since your town meeting speech?
Right.
Since the FBI has come?
Because
to,
you're not biased.
arrest-
Are you
That's an
presenting
investigation.
yourself
They're
as
two
not
different-
biased?
they're Two different pockets. You seem to be hung up. You think we should be doing an investigation. We're not.
Well,
Town meeting vote for an audit.
Mr. Chair, if you look in your RFP that you sent over, you actually referenced the word investigation about a dozen times in it. And
I don't-
that's what you put in there because you took it from Holyoke. And that's what they had in there. They were having an investigation, and this is in your documents, sir.
Not now. We're doing an audit, and we spent, what, 3 meetings for 3 hours each, bringing down, and we cut, what, 30% of that? And Kathleen basically went before the finance committee and town meeting and said, after the thorough investigation she did, $200,000 will easily be able to cover.
No,
No,
she
Bob,
did not.
Please don't misquote me. You have a habit of doing that. Please don't
Oh,
misquote me.
okay.
Would you like me to tell you what I
Yeah,
said?
exactly what did you say?
I said that $200,000 would be what we would need to attract a national firm. What I had been told, and I did not give all of this when in those remarks, but that was the low end of what we would need to attract a national firm. And we felt that we would take the low end estimate because we're taxpayers too, and we want it to be done, as thriftily as possible. You're adding a lot of words to what I said.
So 200,000 should be able to be.
Mr.
get it
Chair,
done.
Mr. Scollins in the room even referenced at one of the finance committee meetings, $200,000 would be enough. And
Oh,
you're
he said
acting
we
like
just
the
needed a
town has
fraction
never
of
had
that.
supplemental funding for any project. Every project you've worked on has supplemental funding. The rink, the Paul Revere site, you picked the highest bid on the middle school, $50 million higher, and you're worried about a couple of $100,000 to restore trust in our community. There's other projects, the library. We could go on and on about the projects that required supplemental funding or taking
We don't have that money.
bonds
available.
from other
We can
projects.
we can only award with money in the till. Right now, the only thing we have in the till is $200,000.
How did you award then $50 million over what you had for the schools, for the school?
How did we run?
Bids came in at 170 million. You
Yeah,
picked one
and
for,
that's a long term, and depending on the
240
state
million.
investigation and their turn back. We're also going to be going through borrowing, go through town meeting. It'll be covered in that manner. It isn't all upfront money. I don't think you've been paying attention to some of that. The other items that we do, we vote. If we have a bid that comes in excess of money availability, we can't sign a contract. It's a dead issue. We only have $200,000.
but you know we can go for supplemental funding
But
in
you
a
can't
number
sign,
of
you
different
can't, you can't
ways.
do a bid on what you might or might not get. You have to have the money in the till, period.
The Energy Aggregation Committee just came and asked for extra money for a proposal they needed. They needed, and the
The
select
money
board
has
gave
gotta
them
be in the till.
mitigation funds, and they ended up going with a better vendor.
Bob, do you remember the speech that you gave at the special town meeting about how this was unnecessary and you wouldn't risk your license, which I don't believe you have a license, but you said you wouldn't risk your license on this terrible, terrible project. You're
I
not
was
biased?
referring to
You're
Mr.
not-
Collins. I never
you're-
said I had a license.
You're not biased? are you
I
saying?
also said, and you've also quoted me for the past 3 or 4 months, that I was against this audit. I said
You were
further on in the
completely
same
against it,
speech,
on video.
I was in favor of the audit under the selectmen. Do you know why? Because they already were working on the scope of services that you never had. I said from the very beginning at town meeting, you needed a scope of service, you were lacking it. That was the most important thing to have, and you didn't have it.
Not
Now
for-
we have something.
Yeah, not for an article for town meeting, but that would be like having the fox edit the hen house.
I don't understand that.
Because the select board are the police commissioners of the town.
Do you trust anybody?
No,
I certainly do. And once again, you're personalizing this.
No, well, I think you are by the previous comment.
No, those were public comments that you made, and you were very proud to make. You were
And
completely
you cherry
biased.
picked what I said. I still have the speech if you
Completely
like.
biased. It's on video. I hope people go and look it up.
So don't I.
Yeah.
So don't I.
so don't I?
All right, can we move on as to what we're gonna do with these others? Oh, we're gonna be here all night,
Well, it seems like it's gonna be a 2-0 vote, but
Right.
we'll go through
whatever you'd like.
for the
We,
motions,
we could bring it up now if you would want
the obstructed
and vote
motions.
as it is and see where it goes, or we can do this for the next 2 to 3 hours.
So I'm perfectly fine with that, Bob,
Which,
with completing the task of the committee.
well, explain that.
We
do
have to
do
go
we
through
bring this up-
question by
Do we bring this
question.
up for a vote now, or do you wanna continue to wanna change all these and we go through for the next 3 hours?
Well, let's,
You say it's gonna go 3-2.
we have an agenda item on the board and we're discussing it. So let's proceed with the agenda items and see how they
Okay,
play out.
got it. I just want to be clear. Go ahead.
Okay, the next question. Will the audit process be delayed until the conclusion of the investigation, internal, state, or federal? The answer, the audit process is intended to be independent of all matters. So,
Other matters.
sorry, for some reason, I should have changed the font, but every email that comes out of the Office of the Finance is in like size 10 font, and it's very hard to read when printed. And I feel like that's done intentionally. But
Why can Mr. Scollins speak for the audience, but the other
this is
audience
not the
members
public
cannot
comment
speak?
section. And how come you're not reprimanding him, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Scollins, please, no comments from the chair until you're recognized.
That was
Yes.
Oh, that's, okay. I understand, Rita. Yes, I will reprimand, you're reprimanded.
And just to be clear, discussing the size of a font is not someone's character.
Do you see how he acts with Rita? Just his mannerism tells you he doesn't give a flying flip. Okay, so you're going to see, and I'm going to step away for a moment. I have to heat up my coffee. It's gotten cold. And I'm going to go ahead and keep playing this so that you can hear. And in a few minutes, I'll get to where after they've done quite a bit, I will turn this off and just play it in my ear until I get to the part that I'm looking for. So you don't have to listen to the entire thing. But this is how this man acts during him. Okay, let me see. All right. Him, like the divider goes right here. It goes right here. These people against these people.
Okay, it's the size of a font.
Okay, can we move on, please?
I don't know how to do the camera. I'll be right back.
What is the next one that we would like? Discuss.
Have you put this together or are you making this up as we go? I mean, have you written it out?
I have. If you'd like to see, I have
I'm asking.
actually
I can't say.
written it out. I'm sorry, I'm being distracted. Everyone's, you guys
Simple
are
question,
conducting a
if you've got
meeting
it.
under Robert's Rules of Orders, which is unfortunate. This is how our town is supposed to be conducting business, but apparently it doesn't matter in this town because we have people that hide in their closets and do Zoom meetings because they're scared of the public. And this is why, Mr. McCarthy, you're setting a terrible tone for the whole town. So,
I agree.
and you're going to be on
May I
NBC
make a
News
motion?
again
We
yelling
take
at
a
all of us.
5-minute break just for the
No,
room to
This-
cool down.
This is, at least you're not screaming and screaming at the audience as you have at other audit meetings. So
So to
that's
get
a
out of
little bit of
order,
an
I will.
improvement.
I
we
would
did,
like
and
to
you didn't.
switch. 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, we'll take a
No.
5-minute break.
All in favor of the break?
All those in favor?
It doesn't matter what we think because it's 3-2. That's the way it was designed.
No, I think we need a break.
Kathleen,
That's all.
honestly, I think it'd be great just to cool the temperature in the room.
Yeah, that's all. That's all we're
Oh,
looking
I'm
to
being
do.
too emotional?
No, I'm not talking
Oh,
about
okay.
you. I'm just talking about all of us, all of us.
So let's just have a break.
It's disrespectful.
Take a break. Bob, may I speak to you, please?
Yes.
Bob, did you speak to Mr. Scollins out in the hallway?
I did.
Did I speak to Mr. Collins?
Yeah, you both went out into the hallway.
I said aye.
Yes. He came over and we spoke.
Nice.
Before you continue, I'd like to take
Are
for a
we back in
second.
session?
Hmm?
Are we back in session?
Yes, we're back in session. I would like to make a motion that we accept the questions and answers as assembled by Town Council, Randy Scollins, Chief Rafferty, and Louis Juchas.
Is that a ministerial request?
No, no.
Why did all three of you leave the room?
Yeah.
You're violating a procurement that's not supposed to happen.
So,
This is a
I
designee
asked,
where you're getting involved with.
I have never met Randy Scollins in person until this very moment. I didn't know who he was until his name was mentioned to me. Number one. Number two, I suggested it to Bob that we just move on because we've all read it. We have discussed it and we, quite frankly, yes, the three of us do not have any objections to what is written. So I anticipate that we're going to abide by what the town attorney said. And if we can go through it, but it will be a 3-2 vote.
But the town attorney was hands off. And wait, how do you know it's in?
You notice that? It will be a 3-2 vote. This town, every citizen knows it will always sway the way the McAlberts want it. Why? What do these people have?
It's gonna be a 3-2 vote when he wasn't even out there. So
Because it was
have you
designed
guys
that way.
colluded
We have a
beforehand?
motion, we have a motion on the floor
Beforehand. This
that's
is
been
you're
seconded,
violating
is that correct?
the rules of a committee and open meeting laws.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
Vote for the whole
Dave,
committee and say it's a 3-2
You
vote.
have a motion on the
Well, then
floor?
let's go through each one and see what the vote
No,
is.
we have a motion on the
That's
floor
how
right now.
committees work.
No, we have a motion on the floor right now that's been seconded, that we accept the questions and answers have assembled and before us.
Can I
We had
clarify?
discussions on it. Go ahead.
We actually
The
haven't
people
had
who
any
answered the
discussions on it.
questions are the town council, the Louis Jutras, who's another town employee, Randy Scollins, who is another town employee who, like Louis Jutras, and the police chief, works for the select board. So all the people who weren't intended to have anything to do with an independent audit, they've answered these questions, and we're going to vote on
Okay,
it.
but then again, we have David on the 16th at 9:25 a.m. Who will be contacting the police department to get answers to these questions from the vendors and the other vendors? No one on the committee is privy to this information. So he asked me to do it. That's what I'm doing it. We still have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
I didn't say contact town council. I didn't say contact Randy Scollins. I said, for instance,
We have-
how many pieces of evidence do we have? Like, how would anyone like know that other than the chief of police?
We still have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
How about discussion? Could we
One, two,
discuss?
three. Against?
We didn't even
You
have
know
a
what the vote is.
discussion on it.
Hmm?
You're
You know what the
violating
vote is.
Robert's rules
Sorry.
again.
You know what the vote is. It was designed this
I
way
have
back
to
in
hear it
November.
publicly.
The town council said it would be illegal to do it any other way than to have three of you know people against the two petitioners.
Does that mean you're voting against it? You haven't said.
Okay, so first of all, you're obstructing
Wait a
the
minute.
cover for Kate.
Would you allow her to finish speaking?
So
Be quiet,
I'm
please.
yielding to David.
Would you, what is your vote?
You're obstructing the cover for murderers in this town. All three of you.
You,
should all be
how
ashamed.
dare you even say that? You do not know if they were murderers.
At the
If
end of
there is
the
even a
FBI
case.
Oh, good for him calling him out. You support murderers. I don't know this guy's name. Does anybody know this guy's name? But man, he's got that finger going. He's telling them about themselves, right? The bottom line is, Mr. Whoever you are, I hope you watch this. And let me tell you, the people in the house at 34 Fairview on the 29th of January, 2022, there are people in that home that, yes, committed murder. Those people killed John O'Keefe. Somebody in the house killed John O'Keefe, but he wasn't quite dead enough yet. Then they put him in the front yard. So as he's laying there dying and freezing to death, and the one officer, or an I think it was an EMS that spoke, and he said that John O'Keefe had like frozen water on his face. Does anyone remember that? Frozen water on his face. That was probably the word needed, tears on his face as he lay in pain, dying, realizing people he knew just killed him. Now, Bob is in the blue shirt, right? That's Bob McCarthy in the blue shirt. I want the tan shirt. Who's in the tan shirt? I don't know. But I'm sorry. This right here, this gets spicy, y'all. Not only spicy, this is mouth-dropping, eye-opening. Are you friggin' kidding me is what this is.
comes in.
The FBI
We
did not
know.
come in and
The
say
FBI
that
has
anybody,
come
any
in.
Canton police officer
you watched?
is a murderer. Yes, I
Sandra
have watched.
Birchmore was murdered.
Number
in
one. Number
Canton.
two, they are innocent until proven guilty.
They haven't been charged with anything. That's when that
Covering
protection
for a
attachment.
murder.
Whoops. I'm over here hitting the wrong buttons. Innocent until proven guilty. Except these people said Karen Reed was guilty, is guilty, remains guilty until you can convince these type of imbeciles that she's not guilty. The difference is Karen Reed is not only not guilty, she's innocent, and she is a victim of this corruption. That's what Karen Reed is. That's my opinion.
You're voting,
You
what's
are
your vote?
stating I'm
Yes,
covering
no?
for a murderer.
What was your vote? Abstain? Yes, no, abstain?
What's the question? We haven't even
The
had the
vote?
discussion part. You
Well,
violated Robert's rules and we,
I'll get a vote on this.
usually you have
Bring-
it,
bring
under
to-
Robert's Rules of Orders, you have a discussion before you have a vote. We didn't have a discussion.
Questions to the answers, or are you just gonna just shut us all down?
You're out of order because I haven't recognized you. Please leave. Please leave.
Well, how come Randy
Please
doesn't have to
leave.
leave?
I am not
Come on.
gonna
Okay.
call the police on me.
I would love to.
David,
Let's go for it. Go ahead.
Let's go through each
Hit it,
question.
Randy. Hit it,
We'll see
Randy.
you all
I'm
night.
tired of this. We come here.
Let's go
and
through
we
each
try to
question.
work with you, and all
You go, Rita. You go. Listen to Rita. Rita stands up. Rita's got guts. And what do? They get horrific chemicals and dump them on Rita's yard and Miss O'Donnell's yard and some other lady that lives close by who grows vegetables, and people enjoy the flowers and they enjoy her greenery, and they dumped it on her yard. Not gas, not Clorox, but chemicals that could really harm children, and then they left the stuff there. Come on, Rita, tell them about it.
you're doing is yelling at people.
The public deserves
Please
to know what the questions are, and you're withholding.
Please have the police come here and escort her out.
I would like Mr. Scollins escorted out for speaking out of turn as well.
No,
Yes,
no, that's my call, not
it's
yours.
not your call
No,
because
No, and
you're covering for
do
him.
you have a vote to? have
Randy's
him-
calling the
I
police.
haven't even had the discussion.
It's probably
His
the,
name is Randy Scollins and Rita, I'm sorry, just Randy.
Why did I come in peace?
Covering for murderer.
Oh, Jesus.
But we are being yelled at, and we are being excluded, and all we're worried about is
Wait.
protecting the town. And audit is protecting the.
You're out of order. Please sit
She's
down.
not out of order.
You're all out of order.
Everybody's out of order unless
sit
you
down.
believe with me. Huh.
Please sit down.
I did.
Yes, you can talk out of order and you call the cops on
Scollins,
someone
you
for
want-
talking out of order? That's called bias in this town, Mr. Scollins. Are you going to remove yourself from the room for talking out of order?
Patrolman that got an 80%.
Are you going to remove yourself? See, this is how the Canton cronies run the town.
Rita, please be quiet.
Who in the hell does that man think he is? You know, he just called out Rita, which is an adult, a grown woman, the way I address my grandchildren when I have had enough and it is like I'm going to get your attention. Except he has anger behind his voice. My voice just gets, you know, I tell you what, they better not. I don't know. Has anybody seen from Rita since? Because I usually see her on the Young Jerks or hear from her, and you know, she she's she is out there, and she is fighting for everybody's rights. Everybody in that town, she's fighting for your rights. Somebody, look, all of you people there can get behind a group of people that are already established and standing up and screaming out against this corruption. The McAlberts cannot get you all. And eventually, if everyone gets together and says enough is enough, the McAlberts are not going to win. Evil does not trump over good. And now it's on the forefront. If Josh Levy can't help, the governor should. The governor should care. These are her people. This is, they can't. What are they going to get done? And can you tell it anything that goes with, as I'm going to say, I'm going to side that I'm on this side over here of the common folk. Okay. I'm not on the other side. I'm not with the blue jerks over here. Just the common folk. And Rita, man, she can explain so well, but this is a total embarrassment that this is taking place. And I can't wait till they get to where one of the dumbasses on here thinks it's ingenious to have a solo cup. I may have to fast forward for that. But yeah, when to call Rita out and whoever's stalling, who is he? So my question is, a blue shirt is Bob, correct? The tan shirt, I don't know. And then the black shirt, I don't know. It's Bob and those three men. The other two are fighting for citizens and what the citizens want and what would show the corruption. Yeah, you need a full-fledged investigation is what you need. That's what you need. Your town needs to be saved.
And see,
Well, how else are we gonna get it to be quiet?
well, you're no different. It's you two are
could show
both
leadership.
yelling at each
You
other.
could show leadership, and I just want to
There's no
note,
decorum in this
I just want to
room.
note that Mr. Scollins works for the taxpayers. No, he's paid by the taxpayers. But by his,
Please be quiet. Now, what is the will of the committee? Do we want to vote this at this point? Or do you want to table it and then go through these item by item for 3 hours? It's gonna be 3-2 down the line, I assume, because I'm not gonna change my mind.
That's not how Robert's rules
Well,
work. You
well,
don't just
let's-
assume votes.
Let's,
You have a discussion. You're not even conducting a meeting in the right way.
We will
If
go
we had a
through
code of
each one of them.
conduct,
Go ahead,
this would.
go ahead.
We're
You
going
wanna go
through
through
each
each
one.
one? Bring it up, let's go.
You know, David, I don't know anything about Robert's rules, and I will never say that I do, but I know one thing that I'm assuming is part and parcel. You never accuse people that are sitting on a panel with you of covering for murderers. I spent 32 years of my life investigating convicting murderers.
Okay, who's this guy? The one talking right now. I need to know his name. The one in the black shirt. Because whatever line of work he's in, if it has anything to do with investigation, somebody please tell me it's not he's removed, because listen to these people.
And now I'm sitting here as a volunteer in a committee, and you, who don't know me, you know nothing about me, you know nothing about Dr. Muse, and you're accusing us of covering for murderers. I'm a little offended by that. I'm a lot offended by that.
I don't
I
care.
really am.
I'm offended by what you're saying to me and what he's been
What did I,
saying.
what,
to me
what,
this
what,
whole
did I,
time,
what did I say
what
to
this
you?
person's been
Hey,
saying
look,
to
David,
me.
what did
Jack has said
what did I say to you?
no, he didn't accuse, he said there were people who covered for
No,
murderers.
it
He
was a
didn't say,
blank- it was a-
Jack,
it was a
you and
blanket
you,
statement.
Dan, he didn't say that.
It was a blanket statement, and I
Well, I think that you're feeling, of course, a natural loyalty
He
to the National State Police,
no,
which you
he
served for many
pointed to
years.
us and said, you're covering for murderers.
I have not been a member of the state
Obviously,
police for 18 years,
because
Kathleen.
of Sandra Birchmore.
But that was, you retired from the Massachusetts State Police.
No, I retired from a college.
Okay.
That was my most recent employment. My loyalty currently is to the town of Canton.
Yeah, right.
And I know Dr. Muse and Bob, and I know that you two want to get this done correctly. But I think the way that to get it done correctly is not to throw bobs and bricks and bats at people who are on the panel trying to accomplish the same things as you. I would never say to you.
You
what
need to
you said.
remove the chair if you want to have that type of committee run.
And put you in
Again.
my place?
Motion to remove the chair.
Second,
Aye.
Discussion on, let's have a discussion.
Oh, we gotta
Discussion on that. Any discussion?
I think we're way too far beyond that, and that I'm against that motion.
Okay, so we have the vote. Aye. Kathleen?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
Aye. Jack? No?
No.
Dan? No? I
Yeah.
vote no. 3-2.
3-2. I hate that. 3-2.
it's the arrogance, I think, that bothers the taxpayers, Bob and Randy.
Yours?
Randy too.
Who's
The
There's never
never
going
arrogance.
to be trust
I-
restored in this
and as
town.
he smirked
We
back
have
at
a police
me,
force
just to
that's
disprove it.
biased.
Yeah.
We're trying to establish police reform that can create some sort of unbiased police that's not just for a select few people in town.
Again,
We,
this
we
is an
want
audit.
to be able to have trust restored and equitable policing. For instance, we had a diversity, equity, inclusion committee established at the fallout of the George Floyd riots to deal with police issues. And Ms. Halley could speak to what happened to her on that committee.
Oh, it
when
was
she
horrible.
attempted to address some issues. The committee was not intended, didn't do what it was intended to do. And there's no place in this town for people to turn to that have issues with the police. And there needs to be a change here. The select board's obviously not doing any kind of reform. They're just
So the question is, Governor Healy, do you hear this? Do you hear this? Because somebody bigger than this little group of McAlberts needs to get involved and stop it.
just turning a blind eye to it. They don't care. Half of their family works on the police department. It's turned into what appears to be an organized crime ring in this town.
Again,
And
Can we stop with the
again,
soliloquy?
please do not
and
use
concentrate on
that.
these
There
there is
questions?
nothing in there that they have done that says it's. an
There's the
organized
appearance
crime.
of it, sir.
There is not.
That's the reason for the audit.
There is not. They had nothing to do with Sandra's case except to secure the crime scene. And then
They all-
a medical
that's not true.
examiner said that it was a suicide. As well, the state police comes in once it is secured, and I'm sure Jack could articulate that a lot better than I could.
They
since
did
he
far
was a
more than
state
that.
Oh yeah, state police. We know the state police and what they said, right? It doesn't bother these people. It doesn't bother these people. I can't believe some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth and they know they're being recorded. Do do the people in Massachusetts, honest to heavens, believe this is how you should act? Do they really feel this is in the best interests of everybody in that town? Do they not see that for whatever reason, the people no longer matter? But they want the tax dollars and they want to spend the tax dollars how they want to spend the tax dollars. And they will clearly, as he does, 3-2. That's how they handle everything. They've got control of every board, the select board that puts together the committees. I mean, people need to be mad. People need to, I mean, I don't know how you stop paying your taxes, but I'd go elsewhere and spend my money. If you're taxed on shopping, I would go to another area as close as possible to spend my money so that my tax dollars from the sales of what I would take it out of this group. I would not support anything that financially helps the committee have money to spend or the select board. These type of humans need to be put in their place. Somebody needs to do it. And I don't know who besides Governor Healy. I don't know. I mean, and what is it? The Attorney General, is that it? And isn't that where one of the Albert's daughters works? You know, the one that her boyfriend Tristan was gonna plow, so he was gonna go home and go to sleep. But then she started calling just frantically. I wonder how many calls there were before he actually answered and went to get her, because all of a sudden now she needs to get out of her parents' house and get back to her house because she didn't want to be snowed in. But she went to her parents' house and knowing she was going to be snowed in. Somebody make it make sense, because none of this makes sense. But I think that we're going to get to the part. I'm so sorry, guys. I will get timestamps. I will get better at this because I just don't know how to get anybody to, to help them. I mean, Turtle Boy should not be the only person covering this.
Chair,
They
this
did
person is
investigative
giving me
steps.
death threats right here. Mr. Scollins, he's giving me an eye that just looks like he wants to kill me. And
that-
you know
is
what?
that-
I've been intimidated in this town. I have the police
Rita, you should be out of this
parking
room.
next to me when I go to pick up
So please
my
leave.
dinner. You know, it's
Hmm?
unfortunate.
I'm here because I'm concerned.
All right.
I asked you to leave, so
So
I
as
make
a
a
matter
motion
of-
that nothing is said
excuse
except
me.
has.
Excuse me, as a matter of record, anybody can go and look at the police reports involving Sandra Birchmore, and the Canton police were involved in the investigation during the early days, the most critical moments of any investigation, I'm told. For example, now Lieutenant Lank went through all of the video, and in fact, in his report, he has the wrong date on it. We have 3 reports from Canton patrolmen who were there at the scene. So to say that the Canton police were not involved is not correct.
what has this to do with the audit that we're trying to figure out on the questions?
I'm just correcting something that was
No,
said that was incorrect.
Let's concentrate on what we're here for tonight, not speculating on 2 trials that we shouldn't be even discussing. So what else do you, go down the list?
We
Let's
have the
go.
police here, so I think we're probably going to have a break.
Well, I think they're only here for Rita to,
Excuse me,
Get
I'm getting death
back.
threats.
Yeah, but Mr.
It
Scollins
looks
spoke
like he
out
wants
as
to
well.
kill
So if you're removing
I
Rita,
demanded that Rita did,
you need.
and I
oh,
reprimanded her.
I
This is the problem with the
reprimanded
town.
her.
There's no equity in this town.
God.
No, because
No,
throw out, make the
it's-
woman
it's
leave,
so
and the man who
biasly
broke, the
one-sided
man
as
who
you're
broke the
proving
law gets
in
to
the
stay,
moment.
but the woman who broke the law has to leave. Oh, that's so funny, Randy.
Oh.
Oh, the arrogance.
Are you going to continue with this list, or
Come on,
what you-
Kathleen.
how you want it done?
Please proceed,
Go.
Mr. Chair. Will the audit process be delayed until the conclusion of another investigation, internal, state, or federal? The audit process is intended to be independent of all other matters. So we're saying we can't have an internal investigation. So it's going to be independent of internal matters. That doesn't make sense. You know, the part of this audit is to review the internal affairs investigation, which, as the document states, they don't even have a procedure for documenting that. So we need to see how that even happened.
What did you want it to say?
I read that answer, and to me, that's saying no. That's what that answer says to me.
I move to change the answer to no.
Okay, you have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call?
Aye.
No.
No. 3-2.
So you just moved to change it to
No,
no.
Dave, what I said, I'm
You
looking
change
at
it to no,
that.
and then you vote no on it. So
No, I'm not,
sending mixed signals here.
I also am not a lawyer. I look at that, and to me, the answer is no.
Exactly. And we want to change the answer to no, and you just voted not to change it
Okay,
to no.
what's next? What's next?
Move that we change the second answer to no.
Okay, motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No, 3-2.
3-2, 3-2.
Next one.
Will information be unavailable or delayed to the auditor
Great.
based on ongoing or upcoming criminal or civil court cases? The audit process is intended to be independent of all matters. So we can't look at any other criminal case that has ever been looked at. You're sending a signal to potential bidders. So
What is it you want in this place?
no would be what we want in its place.
No?
But we've already voted that, so we would have to vote to reconsider. So we can't look at, you're telling the auditor they can't look at anything that you voted on to put into the proposal. All three of you voted on, these were
What's
unanimous.
next? What's
So
next?
you're telling them, you're just like redoing the whole scope on the fly through these questions. and
What's
answers.
next on the questions you want to change?
He's so rude.
What information will be available digitally versus having to review in person?
Okay, hold on.
Where is this?
It's the next
Four.
question down on the first page, sir.
Before.
All information that can be provided digitally will be if reasonably possible.
Excuse me?
I'm gonna honor your request, and I'm going to leave the meeting as you requested. And Mr. Scoggins, I know you're so happy, look at you shaking your head, you're so happy. And you know why I'm doing it? Because I respect those guys out there, and I don't want to compromise them. I'm doing this for them, for this town. You don't care about this town, you only care about Randy Scoggins.
Go,
It's
Rita.
funny, Mr. Scoggins? Is this why you left Foxborough? Why did you have to leave Foxborough?
Is that, that's out of order.
That's right, that's a matter of public record.
All right, that's out of order from here, though.
Woo!
You want it on the up and up? Let's say what you mean. You mean
We
to
have
say.
a public servant who taxpayers pay.
No, we're not going to discuss that. We're discussing
Smirking
these
in the
questions. and
audience.
answers. That's it.
This is a disruption to the committee,
I
just the
find
same
it-
way
What
you
is your
kick
next
someone
question?
else out, sir.
I find
He's
him
here
to be
to
very
intimidate
disruptive.
me.
Oh, my
And
God.
he's
Here to
laughing.
disrupt. And look at him.
All right. What is your next one and what do you want?
Sir, I would like to have him removed.
For what reason?
His
For reasons of
district,
distrust, the way he's just staring at me, it looks like he wants to kill me.
and he's
Well,
smirking and laughing.
I like and respect Mr. Collins, so as far as I'm concerned, he can stay.
He's smirking and laughing. It's
Actually,
very,
You listen to this man. I like and respect him. He can stay. And then he wants to have a vote with the other people, and they better go along with him because he thinks anything he says is going to be what's done because he likes it. This is unflipping real.
Bring it to a vote.
disrespectful.
Who wants Mr. Collins to leave?
It's
Whoa, 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 time out.
Choo-choo.
For a woman,
Take it a
you
vote.
kick her out and call the police. For a white man,
Oh,
you do a
jeez.
Let's
vote.
give him a seat of honor.
3-2, Mr. Collins stays.
He didn't even ask the
Wait,
other
let's-
two. He
let's
didn't ask.
move on
He
to
just
the-
said
No, 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 can we
3-2.
do a
Did
vote
y'all
for
see
Rita?
that? Just
Oh, yeah,
Let's vote for Rita to
3-2.
stay.
It will be 3-2.
I move that Rita gets to stay.
Second. I second
Rita
that.
stay? No, 3-2.
This
The
is
committee
like,
was
Okay,
designed to
like
be
a-
What's
this
your,
way.
what's your next,
Wait,
what's your
what are we
next
voting?
one? Otherwise, we're going to be here till
Yeah,
midnight.
are you just gonna sit there with a little smirk, go 3-2 every time
Yep.
after every vote? This
All right.
is-
I want the vote from Mr. Scollins put up again.
I move to reconsider Mr. Scollins' vote.
Second.
Go ahead, put it up.
Move to reconsider, second, so
No,
In favor of it.
aye.
3-2.
Okay, so now we have a motion to remove Mr. Scollins from the room.
I second
So
that
we-
motion that Mr.
motion to-
Scollins be removed from the room.
Second.
I
I'm sorry,
second
motion-
that to be removed so we can get this done.
all right, so 3-2, Mr. Collins, would you, thank you. Okay, what's the next one you want and what changes?
So we were, before the interruption, what information will be available digitally versus having to
Okay,
review in person?
so what I'm gonna do is I'm going
And
to
Town
stop
council,
this
who's not
for
supposed to be
here,
involved,
and I'm going to try. I'm probably talking loud because I'm listening to it in my ear, but I'm gonna try to find the part that I want. So is Bob McCarthy, is he in the blue shirt? Okay, I guess it'd be better if I just share it and then try to fast forward it. I don't, I just wanna get to where they're arguing about that one thing.
leaving to me to come outside. So
Oh, Lord, watch
I
this,
would actually like him
guys.
to come inside because I would feel more comfortable in here.
He just motioned for you to come
Yes, he
outside?
just waved his
Okay.
finger through that window at me. So the Canton police are disrupting
Yep.
the audit that's overseeing them.
In your opinion.
In my
you
opinion,
guys-
they're actually
Okay, so but I mean, this is how they should feel, right? Because nothing is ever right. So I wouldn't trust them either. I wouldn't get up and go see them. But the snarky smartass after is
doing it. They're
You guys are
biased.
safe. You guys are, the well-connected townies are safe. It's only the 75% of the town that pays
you
most
go,
of the police force,
Kathleen.
pays for most of the police salaries that have to worry about.
What
What
is the
is it?
definition of a townie?
That's irrelevant.
I'm not.
Right.
I'm not a town.
You guys qualify as well-connected. You're on.
I've
I'd
been a
like it all
carpenter
on the
for
record
40
here in the
years.
room if you'd like to speak to me.
Kathleen, this is the first time I've ever had any involvement in any kind of town government. The only other thing that I've been involved in is Little League Baseball. I'm not a town.
Mhm.
Never have been.
So-
We asked them to leave the building and they're gone, so.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that is your,
That was your
Correct.
intimidation from the police you were talking about? Okay.
So did they, bullies? Would you say bullies? I would, we don't know what it looks like. He wouldn't be trusting. And now they want to point out as if they're bullies. Oh, that's what intimidated you? Well, this man seems to be extremely vocal. I don't know who he is, but I can understand that he would have fears. I would be afraid for him. See, that's what the problem is. The rest of the citizens that are sitting back quietly and not speaking out for those that are actually fighting for your rights, they need to be supported now. They need to have you back them. They need to have you stand up and say, enough is enough is enough. I mean, I don't know if the FBI can help out here. Can Josh Levy help out? We know the governor can step in. Okay. I don't know who else can, but I know the governor can stop this. The governor can stop this. I don't know who can stop Beverly, but I know that the governor has the ability to stop this kind of crap. Where is she? Where is she? Is she buddy buddy with the people in Canton too? She seemed to be so appalled at what Proctor did. Yet, is she really? And his supervisors that were in the threads, oh, don't get me started on that crap. The lies, the cover up, the you should believe me because I'm so and so type shit. Excuse my mouth. But a few more minutes of this, I still want to get to the solo cups because as I sat here watching that, all I could say is, and this is on, they know this is being recorded. I mean, ugh.
You have a motion on this one that you want to change to? Haven't heard it yet.
I put it out there.
could you say it again, please? For Article 4, correct?
Article 4. Questions on the page that Bob Mr. Chair provided were not numbered.
Up there,
So
but up
after
there.
looking at the whiteboard,
Yeah, we're not going to answer you. Just look at the whiteboard.
So you're talking about what information will be available digitally versus having to review in person. That's what we're talking about?
yes.
Okay.
So
And it says all information that can be provided digitally will be if reasonably possible. do you
versus
wanna
having
change
to
it to?
review in person. So all hard records will be reviewed in person.
You're qualifying something that we're not sure that has to be qualified. Again, I would be against changing what town council has put in there. But you could vote. Go ahead, have a motion. And we'll
Oh,
see where it
yeah.
goes.
See where it goes.
Go ahead, make the motion. You don't have to smirk at me.
Spark? I'm not
I'm not
sorry.
Yeah,
sure.
you were.
Okay,
Well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna make a motion or not?
Is he not a bully? Tell me he's not a bully.
I move that the committee provide information digitally, and if the information is not provided in a digital format, all hard records shall be reviewed.
Is that the motion?
Poor guy. He's not used to having a bully attacking him while he's speaking, I bet.
In person.
Okay, I second that motion.
So we were trying to get answers from the town council, like how much there is on this, and they just answer it with such a generic answer that we don't even really know what information is really out there. This is why we tried to ask the police. So we just got an obstructionist answer.
In your opinion?
In your opinion, he is
Do you
an
think this
ass.
Satisfies what.
Can
the-
In your
Somebody get him
opinion, you
off
think it's
there.
an obstructionist answer?
It-
In your
it
opinion?
obviously
In my
does not-
opinion, I think it's fine.
It obviously does not satisfy what the vendor is looking for,
Well,
and it's going to
in
make
your
it
opinion,
difficult
again, in
for
your
these
opinion.
people.
Let's just assume
These
everything
vendors-
that we each are saying is our opinion, and you could stop interrupting David, please.
You know, you're
I
just
don't
making
need
it
instructions from
near impossible. You're making me repeat things. We had a motion on the table, you withdrew it, and then you asked me to do it again. So it's unfortunate. It's just not how the rules of decorum work under, they might work under Robert McCarthy's rules of decorum, but that's not under Robert's rules, which the town is following. The town council already said you didn't follow the rules on the opening of the meeting.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he
We
didn't.
have the
In your
email from-
interpretation,
I have
and
the
most of your
email from-
interpretations have been wrong, and they continue to be wrong. So you have a motion that you voted on this?
His interpretations are wrong.
Ayes? Those against?
No.
3-2. Next one.
What limitations on access to the facility or personnel will the audit group have? Both police department, town employees, and select board members, current and former, is the question. The answer is all access is legally permissible, will be provided if reasonably possible. And we granted unfettered access to the audit. So there should be no limitations, should be the answer. So I move that no limitations be the answer.
You have a second?
Second, yes.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
No.
3-2.
So
Next.
what you all are
Okay, do you see this? This is an outrage. This is an outrage. This is not democracy at all. Oh, hold on. Oh, I'm gonna have to, oh my gosh, my granddaughter, oh, she's home. All right, this is a democracy. And these people act like it's not a democracy. They they do everything that is totally against any, I mean, 3-2, 3-2. And he's running his mouth so much, so fast. Yes, please, Marilyn. I am right there. I mean, you can tell he's an Albert buddy, right? He's an Albert buddy. So, all right, this is the question that I'm going to ask you guys. I know that I'm not finished with this, but I can leave it play and disappear for a little bit, or I can just come back and maybe have found just the parts that I want to cover and put them in. or would it be best if when I come, just let it play, or come back later on and just have parts already picked out? Which would be best? I just really don't know. But my grandbaby, my grandbaby that's 3 just got home from um, a visit with her other side. Then she's never been. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, I gotta go see my grandbaby. I haven't seen her all day. She's never been gone. She's never been away from one of us. So I'm gonna have to go, and then I will definitely I will be back in a bit. So it will be part 2. And if anyone could just tell, I'm so sorry, but I don't have the words. I don't have the words for my connection to my grandchildren. It's but I have to go do that. And um if y'all would let me know in the comments, should I just find just the pieces that, I mean, that really irk your constitution? The entire thing irks my constitution. But the part that gets me the most is the insanity that they think this is. I mean, this is out there for the public to see, around the world, in the state, out of the state. Do they honestly think that the rest of America is run this way? Bullies? Gonna show you 3-2, gonna show you I'm gonna do what I want. So I hate to end abruptly, but yeah, I just can't help myself. I will be back in a few hours with the rest of my feelings on this, whether I do it. Somebody let me know in the comments. Should I just do nothing but pre-record? Should I do lives after major? I don't know. Give me your opinions because I really don't know. Maybe pre-record works better. I love to chat with everybody and get your differences. But as you can see, yeah, and I'm just gonna keep calling out, Governor Healy can't, I mean, what is she gonna do? Because somebody in Texas is saying, Governor Healy, would you help the people in your state? I mean, come on, somebody, somewhere, I don't know what's legal. Stand out there with out in front of the governor's mansion or something, it's, with signs, and say, bring us back to the fair rights, to democratic views, to being able to know what it's like to live in a democracy instead of, you know, King Tut Albert calling his goons in each committee in each state in each area and tell them how to behave, what is acceptable, what is not, what would you approve, what wouldn't you approve. All right, we've got that, no problem, don't worry about it, because we're always going to have more on the committees, more on the select board than they have. So in other words, the against the law is going to be much more prevalent and open for everybody than those that are for the laws. So let me just leave it with that. I will eventually come back, be at but yeah, I have to run. I have to go see my grandbaby. Bye.